Hey, our next miracle of Jesus that we're going to talk about is casting demons into a herd of pigs. Now, this is a crazy story, and I can't imagine being there. And it's just crazy to think about. And sometimes when I'm doing good, when I read scriptures, I try and think like, picture that in my head. What was that like? What was it like to see Jesus doing this or doing that or saying that or can you imagine that? And I try and imagine some of that. This story is crazy, 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 crazy. So again, Matthew, Mark, Luke. Get our three friends sharing this a miracle. And we're going to go, I think we're going to go mostly off Mark. Mark has 20 verses. Mark's stories, he's a lot shorter, more brief than the other Gospels. But he uses 20 verses to talk about this story. For Mark, we go to Luke. Go to chapter 5. He went across, Jesus in the very beginning, went across the sea, verse 1. He came out of the ship. So Jesus comes out of the boat. Immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit. Jesus gets out of the ship. Immediately someone comes to him. I think it's Matthew says there was two people. Mark just talks about the one. So I think it was two people, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, it probably does. But in the story, in Mark has the one person coming to him. 3, who had his dwelling among the tombs. So he lived, or the two people lived in the tombs. No man could bind him, not with chains. So Matthew, Mark, Luke have very similar tellings of this. The man could break the chains. He had often been bound with fetters and chains. The chains had been plucked asunder by him, the fetters broken in pieces. Neither could any man tame him. They couldn't restrain him, tame him, nothing. No one was able to help this poor person or these poor people. 5, always, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs, crying and cutting himself with stones. Oh my gosh. Poor people. I can't even imagine. Horrible life these people would have had. Go on to 6. And when he saw Jesus afar off, he ran and worshiped him. This person who was crazy, injuring himself, he was naked. One of the other ones says that. Just this wild person cut himself. No one could tame him. He sees Jesus from far off. As soon as Jesus gets off the boat, this man sees Jesus and is full attention towards Jesus. He ran and worshiped him. This crazed person possessed with demons, he sees Jesus, immediately runs and worships him. A, he recognized Jesus. B, can I do A and B with my fingers? 1 and 2. A, B. I guess, you get it. B, he worshiped him. And just right there, let's stop right there. The demons recognized Jesus immediately for who he is. They worship Jesus immediately. And I think I compare myself, like, am I that good? Would I notice Jesus? Would I recognize Jesus? If I saw him, would I worship him immediately? Would I drop everything and run after him? The demons do. Do I? Would I if I saw him? I hope so. I don't know. That'd be crazy. The unclean spirits, demons, recognize him immediately, worship him. 7, they cried with a loud voice and said, "What have I to do with thee, Jesus, thou Son of the Most High God? I adjure thee by God that thou torment me not." So the demons say, Jesus, thou Son of the Most High God. They know exactly who Jesus is. They don't seem confused. There's no lacking in faith. Even the apostles, we see moments where they lack in faith. They know who Jesus is. But I still feel there's a little bit of hesitancy. Maybe they don't totally understand who Jesus is. Unclean spirits, the demons in the New Testament, there's no lacking in faith. They know exactly who Jesus is. Thou Son of the Most High God. Amazing. I love it. For he said unto him, come out of the man, thou unclean spirit. And Jesus asked him, what is thy name? And he answered, saying, my name is Legion, for we are many. So the one man of the two, his name was Legion, and said, because we are many. So we know that there's many demons or unclean spirits in this Legion guy, poor guy. Verse 10, and he besought him much that he would not send them away out of the country. Now there was there nigh unto the mountains a great herd of swine feeding. Huge herd of swine, bunch of pigs feeding. And all the devils besought him. All the devils. I don't know how this looked. Like in the beginning when we said, I'd like to picture how this looks. I don't know how this happened. All the devils inside Legion asking Jesus for something. I don't know how that looked. I don't know how they did that. I don't know if there was a lot of different voices or if it was, I don't know. But, no, it happened. And all the devils besought him, saying, send us into the swine that we may enter into them. So already, Jesus hasn't even said that much. But the demons, the unclean spirits, they have lots to say. They know who Jesus is, and they're asking to be thrown into the swine. They know Jesus is going to cast him out of this person. This person's about to be free. They're wondering what's going to happen to them. They don't want to be cast out of the country, and they're asking to be cast into the swine. There's a lot to be said about that. I don't understand this at all. How much the demons knew, how much they understood, what they were worried about happening. But they're afraid of different scenarios, and the best one that they could see at that moment was to be cast into a bunch of pigs, which was obviously better than whatever else would have happened. And forthwith Jesus gave them leave. And the unclean spirit, Jesus answered their request of the demons. Demons, these unclean devil spirits, whatever this is, they are asking Jesus for something. And Jesus immediately responds to their request. And the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine. Immediately, their wish was granted. Now, I don't want it to sound like a genie, like their wish was granted, but I feel that so many times Christ answers our prayers, not always like we want them to be answered, like our way, but in this case, Jesus answered their prayers immediately. I think so often Jesus answers our prayers immediately, but I don't think we always have that faith that he's answering them the best way. We want our prayers to be answered our way. The best job, the best marriage, the best kids, the coolest truck, I don't know, whatever, our prayers, we have an idea of how our prayers will be answered. Jesus answers them in very different ways than we have planned. And if Jesus will immediately answer the prayers of the demons, how much more likely is he to answer your prayers? That's huge. Huge. And also, I don't know if we have as much faith as these demons who know exactly who he is. So Jesus cast them into the swine, and the herd ran violently down a steep place into the sea. So they go into these pigs, the swine, and immediately all the pigs, they run out into the sea and drowned. Crazy. And they were choked in the sea. Unbelievable. I can't even imagine watching 2,000. I can't even imagine seeing 2,000 pigs. Like a big field with 2,000. That is a lot of pigs. 2,000 pigs. That's a lot. An incredible amount. Mark also says there was 2,000. That's where we get the number from. It's from Mark. And they that fed the swine fled and told it in the city and in the country, and they went out to see what was done there. So the people who were taking care of the swine, take care of the pigs, the watchers there, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe what happened. And all the pigs, it's my job. My job is to watch these pigs. And they all just ran off and jumped into the sea. They went and told the people in town what had happened. I bet if that happened to me, I would tell everybody about it too. And today, can you imagine all those shepherds out there? I don't know if you're a shepherd, if you have pigs, or if that's just a sheep thing. Whatever shepherd is for pigs, like you get to see them all going live on Instagram, like, dude, check this out. And they'd have their cameras out and showing all this stuff. Like one of the most incredible things you've ever seen. You would want everybody to know about it. And today, yeah, people would be going live on Instagram. It'd be going viral. Back then, they just ran into town and they told everybody about what happened because it's crazy. It's insane. And they choked in the sea. So the pigs went and jumped in the sea and died. And they came to Jesus and see him that was possessed with the devil and had the legion sitting clothed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. So Legion, who was just more than they could handle before, now he's sitting down. He's got clothes on. I don't know where he got the clothes, but he's got clothes on now. And he was in his right mind. The pigs, 2,000 pigs just died. The person is now healed, sitting there in his right mind. And everyone who witnessed this were afraid. Yeah, that would be crazy. That would be such a remarkable thing to see. I can't even imagine. And they that saw it told them how it befell them, and that was possessed with the devil, and also concerning the swine. And they began to pray him to depart out of their coast. So Jesus gets out of the boat, has this talk with Legion, cast the demons, unclean spirits out. They go into the pigs run into the sea, they all drowned, and the people look at Jesus and they want Jesus to leave. They want him out of their country. Whatever it is, they don't want anything to do with this. This is something too incredible. And maybe some of these people were the owners of the pigs and they weren't happy about that, but they wanted him to leave. And when he was coming to the ship, he that had been possessed with the devil prayed him that he might be with him. So it sounds like Jesus got out of the boat. All this happened. They want Jesus to leave. Again, being respectful of wishes, he gets back in the boat. Man. Legion asked to go with Jesus. Howbeit, 19 here, howbeit Jesus suffered him not, but saith unto him, go home to thy friend, and tell them how great thing the Lord hath done for thee, and hath had compassion on thee. I think this is interesting because so many times Jesus tells people to follow him. And this time he doesn't. He tells no, don't follow me. Go home and tell your friend. Go home to thy friends. I'm sorry. Legion has friends. I think I said friend, singular, friends. He's got friends, which is really good because I think it'd be hard to get friends living the lifestyle that he had. But he had friends. That makes me happy. And this man, Legion, he departed and began to publish in Decapolis how great things Jesus had done for him. And all men did marvel. All men did marvel. Now, again, I'm sure that the crazy naked man that lives in the tombs that would break the chains and no man could hold him I'm sure everybody knew about him. I'm sure they made jokes about him. They talked about him. Now he's got clothes on and he's in the right mind, perfectly normal. And now people are talking. People are talking. And they can also go to the sea. They might not believe Legion, but they can follow him to the sea and they can see 2,000 pigs out in the sea. And 2,000 is just a huge number. Did a little math, like if you were to buy pet pigs, there's a range, but if you're like mid-range just to buy 2,000 pet pigs, you're looking at about $4 million worth of pigs. This is huge, huge. $4 million worth of pigs ish. Could have been a lot higher. The meat from the pigs today would be about $300,000 worth of meat. And obviously it sounds like they all died. I don't know if it was just some of the pigs died, but $300,000 worth of meat, 30,000 pairs of ribs in there, and 32,000 pounds of bacon. Yes, most stories come back to bacon and money in my head. 32,000 pounds of bacon, $4 million to buy these. If they were pets, obviously it's different if you're having a baby and raising them and stuff, but the cost of these pigs, whoever owned all these pigs was probably very wealthy from this, and all those pigs were dead. And it sounds like Jesus got back in the boat and went back. Like the whole time he was there, he went across the sea. When he got out of the boat, he did this one miracle and then got back in the boat immediately. That's awesome. And again, I think that one of the biggest things that I notice with the stories with the demons or the unclean spirits is they see Jesus for who he is. They don't have faith. They know 100% who he is. They are 100% obedient. I'm guessing, I don't know how this all works, but it doesn't seem like they really have a choice. They don't have a choice but to be obedient. We have that ability to decide whether to be obedient or to not be obedient. I don't think these guys did. And they ended up in the pigs. And Jesus cast them into the pigs where they wanted to go. And then they ran into the sea. Yeah, it doesn't sound like Jesus didn't send the pigs to the sea. But he let the spirits choose where they wanted to go, and they went there. And I think that after this life, I think we also get to choose where we want to go. Where does our spirit want to go? Where does your spirit want to go? Do you want to be cast into some dirty place, or do you want to be with him? The unclean spirits wanted to go to pigs. Legion, when he had that cast out of him and he was without that evil spirit with him, he wanted to follow Jesus. Jesus had another plan for him and told him to go bear testimony of Jesus, and that's what he did. He was obedient to Jesus also. And I love it. And I hope we can have that same faith in Jesus. I hope we can believe in him. I hope we can choose to follow him, choose to recognize him in our lives. I hope when Jesus asks us to do things that we can follow his example, do what he says, go where he tells us to go. And I think that is the miracle. That's when the miracles come to our lives. That's when the healing comes to our life. That's where in the right mind, like they say, that's where that comes from. And let's keep following him.